A little puppy's belly kept growing bigger and bigger, and even the most experienced vets couldn't figure out why. As his stomach got huge, no one could have guessed the shocking secret inside. John's usual morning jog through Willow Creek Park changed when he heard a soft whimper. Under a big oak tree, he spotted a cardboard box. As he got closer, his heart started to race. Inside was a tiny puppy, dirty and curled up in a ball. What surprised John most was the puppy's swollen belly, looking like it might burst. The puppy's sad round eyes seemed to plead for help. Without hesitating, John picked up the box with the puppy and rushed to the town's vet clinic, wondering who would leave such a helpless animal and what could be wrong with it. As John rushed to the veterinary clinic, cradling the box close to his chest, the urgency of the situation weighed heavily on him. Across town, Dr. Sarah Martinez was just arriving at Maple Grove Veterinary Clinic. Thinking it would be another routine day, she opened her office door, switched on the lights, and started her morning tasks, unaware that she was about to face the most challenging case of her career. A few minutes later, John burst through the clinic doors, out of breath and frantic. Dr. Martinez looked up, startled. The staff, seeing the urgency in John's eyes, quickly sprang into action. They moved toward John and peered inside the box. They were shocked when they saw the tiny puppy with its enormously swollen belly. The puppy's stomach was so distended that it looked ready to burst at any moment, a sight that left the veterinary staff horrified. Dr. Martinez's eyes widened as she saw the puppy's unnatural appearance. She had never seen anything like it in all her years of practice. "Oh, you poor little thing," one of the vet staff said softly. "Don't worry, sweetie. We're going to figure out what's wrong and make you feel better." Dr. Martinez quickly snapped into professional mode despite her shock. "Let's get this little one into exam room 1 right away," she ordered, calm but urgent. "We need to find out what's causing this extreme swelling immediately." As the team worked to stabilize the puppy, Dr. Martinez turned to John. "You did the right thing by bringing her in so quickly," she said. "Can you tell us where you found her?" John, still catching his breath, shook his head. "I just found her in a box under a tree in the park. Who could do such a thing?" Dr. Martinez's expression darkened as she thought about what could be causing the puppy's alarming condition. "Unfortunately, we see cases of abandonment more often than we'd like, but this is something else entirely. Right now, let's focus on helping this little girl. Do you want to stay? We might need some information from you later," Dr. Martinez asked. John nodded eagerly. "Of course, I want to stay and make sure she's okay." Dr. Martinez gently examined the swollen abdomen as the veterinary team worked around the exam room, taking the puppy's vitals and preparing for tests. "We're going to need to run some tests," she told her team. "Let's start with blood work and x-rays, and prep the ultrasound machine. We might need it." Hours ticked by as John paced nervously in the waiting room. Finally, Dr. Martinez came out, her face a mix of concern and determination. "We've got some answers," she began, "but they only lead to more questions. The good news is we've managed to stabilize her condition for now." John smiled. "So, what did you find out?" Dr. Martinez took a deep breath. "The puppy's stomach is filled with fluid, a lot of it. That's what's causing the swelling. But the strange part is, we can't figure out where it's coming from or why it's accumulating so rapidly." John's eyes widened. "Is it dangerous?" "It can be." Dr. Martinez nodded. "If left untreated, the pressure could cause organ damage or even rupture her stomach. We need to drain the fluid immediately, but that's just treating the symptom. We need to find the underlying cause." Just then, a vet staff member burst into the room, waving a sheet of paper. "Dr. Martinez, the blood results just came in. You need to see this." The veterinarian quickly scanned the report, her eyes widening in surprise. "This can't be right. Run the test again," she ordered. John's heart raced. "What is it? What's wrong?" Dr. Martinez turned to him, her expression serious. "If these results are accurate, the puppy's blood contains traces of a substance I've never seen before. It's almost as if someone's been experimenting on her." The revelation hit like a thunderbolt. Could this puppy be the victim of some twisted experiment? The thought was almost too horrible to contemplate. But there was no time to dwell on it now. The puppy needed immediate help. "We need to operate right away," Dr. Martinez said. "We'll drain the fluid and take samples for testing. If someone is experimenting on puppies, we need to stop them." The next few hours were chaotic. While the puppy was in surgery, John spoke with local police, animal control, and a university vet department. Everyone was worried and confused about the puppy's condition. As the surgery continued, a detective and an animal control officer arrived. They listened as John described how he found the puppy in the park and asked him several questions about the area. Meanwhile, the puppy, now named Bean by the veterinary clinic staff, recovered from surgery, connected to monitors and IV drips. John sat beside her, gently petting her fur. "You're a fighter, aren't you, Bean?" John murmured. "Don't worry, girl. We're going to figure this out and make sure you get better." Days passed, and Bean's condition slowly improved. The swelling in her stomach went down, but the mystery of her illness deepened. Lab results confirmed Dr. Martinez's initial suspicions. Bean's blood had traces of an unknown compound, unlike any known medication or toxin. As news of Bean's case spread, it attracted a specialized veterinary research team from a prestigious animal hospital in the next state. They'd arrived with advanced equipment, determined to solve the mystery. Dr. Eliza Chen, the lead researcher, studied Bean's test results with growing excitement. "This is unprecedented," she exclaimed. "The compound in Bean's bloodstream is like nothing I've ever seen before, but there's something familiar about its structure." For days, Dr. Chen and her team worked tirelessly, analyzing samples and running tests. Meanwhile, Bean continued to improve, her playful personality emerging more each day. John visited regularly, bringing toys and treats for the recovering puppy. Finally, after what felt like forever, Dr. Chen called a meeting with Dr. Martinez, John, and the rest of the team involved in Bean's care. "We figured it out," Dr. Chen announced, her eyes shining with a mix of amazement and horror. "The compound in Bean's blood is an experimental growth hormone meant for livestock, still in the early stages of development. It was never intended to be tested on dogs, especially not puppies." A collective gasp filled the room. John's fists clenched involuntarily. "Who would do such a thing?" he demanded. Dr. Chen shook her head sadly. "We don't know for sure, but we traced the compound to a research facility about 50 miles from here. They reported a break-in and theft of experimental materials about a month ago. Someone had stolen the experimental hormone and decided to test it on an innocent puppy. When the results went wrong, they abandoned Bean to die." As the gravity of the situation became clear, the focus shifted from saving one puppy to seeking justice for all animals harmed. Over the next few weeks, Bean recovered, charming everyone with her playful spirit, while a major investigation unfolded. Police, animal welfare groups, and the FDA worked together to find those responsible. Clues from a research facility break-in eventually led detectives to a makeshift lab in an abandoned warehouse. One night, police and animal welfare officers raided the site, discovering the culprits, stolen equipment, and several mistreated animals in cages. During questioning, the group's leader, a disgraced former pharmaceutical researcher, finally confessed. "We needed that compound," he said, his voice trembling. "The livestock growth hormone could have made us millions if we adapted it for human use, but we needed test subjects, and lab rats weren't enough." His accomplice tearfully added, "We stole the puppy from a farm on the outskirts of town. We thought no one would miss her. After administering the growth hormone to the puppy, her stomach started swelling uncontrollably. We panicked. We couldn't risk being discovered, so we put the puppy in a cardboard box and abandoned her in the park." Their confession exposed a plan driven by greed. They had stolen an experimental growth hormone, hoping to sell it on the black market. Bean, the innocent puppy, had been their test subject. As the full extent of their crimes came to light, prosecutors moved forward to ensure justice. Bean's story sparked a call for stricter animal research rules and harsher penalties for cruelty. Dr. Martinez, caught in a media storm, stayed focused on her mission to protect animals. Meanwhile, John remained by Bean's side as she recovered and grew stronger. Soon, Bean was full of energy, bringing joy to everyone at the clinic. When Bean was finally healthy enough to leave, John had already decided to adopt her. As they left the clinic, Dr. Martinez thanked John, noting that Bean's case had brought much-needed attention to animal abuse and research. With Bean snuggled close, her belly now healthy and her fur shiny, John asked, "Ready to go home?" Bean's happy bark was all the answer he needed, marking the start of her new life filled with love and care. What do you think of Bean's story? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.